Money is one of the most misunderstood creations of humankind. People chase it, fight for it, and even define themselves by it, yet very few stop to understand what it really is. Money, at its core, is just a tool, a neutral medium designed to facilitate the exchange of value between people. It isn't truth, morality, or meaning. It doesn't know who deserves it or who doesn't. It simply flows toward efficiency, skill, and perception. The tragedy is that most people worship it like a god, when in reality, it's just a reflection of human agreements and desires. When you see money as truth, you begin to measure your worth by your bank balance. You start believing that those who have more are somehow better, smarter, more capable, more deserving. But that illusion is the very trap that keeps people enslaved to the game. Money has no intrinsic wisdom. It simply follows human systems and incentives. Some people master those systems while others remain stuck inside them. The truth is, wealth is not a scoreboard of value. It's just a tool set for freedom. It allows you to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want. Beyond that, it's just numbers on a screen. Money is a form of stored energy. You trade your time, talent, and creativity for it, and in return, it gives you the ability to direct other people's energy in the future. You can spend it, invest it, or donate it. You can build things with it or destroy things with it. The tool itself is neutral. It's your relationship with it that defines its outcome. A hammer can build a home or shatter a window. The same is true for money. It can build opportunity or fuel greed. That's why mastering your mindset around money is more important than mastering the numbers. When you stop treating money like truth, you free yourself from comparison. You no longer need to measure your progress by how much you have relative to others. True wealth is internal. It's peace, health, knowledge, and time. Money can help you preserve those things, but it can't create them. It can buy you comfort, but not contentment. It can rent you attention, but not respect. It can offer you choices, but not wisdom. The sooner you realize this, the sooner money becomes your servant instead of your master. People who misunderstand money often end up chasing it endlessly. They think the next milestone, a raise, a new car, a bigger house will bring happiness. But each time they reach it, satisfaction fades. The goalpost moves. This happens because they've mistaken the tool for the truth. They think money will solve an internal void that only awareness can fill. The most powerful form of wealth is the ability to be content without constantly needing more. Ironically, when you reach that state, money begins to flow more easily because you're no longer desperate for it. You make clearer decisions, you take smarter risks, and you stop acting from fear. Money amplifies what's already inside you. If you're disciplined, it multiplies your freedom. If you're careless, it multiplies your problems. If you have integrity, it becomes a tool for creation and contribution. If you lack it, it becomes a weapon for destruction. That's why the foundation of wealth isn't just financial literacy, it's self-awareness. To use money wisely, you have to know who you are and what you truly value. Otherwise, you'll end up rich in possessions but poor in purpose. When you finally see money as a tool, you can begin to use it strategically. You invest in things that compound, knowledge, relationships, and scalable assets. You stop wasting it on status games designed to impress people who don't matter. You realize that money, when managed with intention, can buy you time, and time is the real currency of life. Every dollar saved or invested is a small step toward buying back your hours from the system. The true return on investment isn't just more money, it's more control over your own destiny. Mastering this perspective transforms your entire approach to life. You stop chasing quick wins and start building systems. You stop trading hours for dollars and start trading ideas for freedom. You stop fearing money and start understanding it. The goal is not to escape the game, but to play it consciously. Once you do, money stops being a source of anxiety and becomes a lever for autonomy. In the end, money doesn't define your success. Your relationship with it does. If you let it rule your emotions, it will own you. But if you learn to use it wisely, it becomes a silent ally on your journey to freedom. Remember, money is just a mirror. It reflects who you are, not who you should be. Use it as a tool to build the life you want, not as a truth to justify the life you settle for. When you truly understand that, you've already mastered half the game. Most people never realize how much of their life is dictated by money until it's too late. They wake up every day not because they want to, but because they have to. Their choices, their time, even their emotions are shaped by the need to earn, spend, and survive. The irony is that money was created to serve us, yet for most it becomes the master. If you don't control money, it will control you. It will decide how you live, where you live, and how much of your freedom you get to experience. The key is not to escape money, but to learn to make it serve your purpose instead of owning your soul. Control begins with awareness. Most people are stuck in a loop: earn, spend, repeat. They work jobs they don't love to buy things they don't need, all to impress people who don't care. This endless cycle of consumption keeps them trapped in dependency. Every purchase that feels like freedom is actually another chain. When you rely on a paycheck to survive, you aren't free. You're just renting your time. True control starts when your money begins to work for you instead of the other way around. Until you understand this, you're playing the game on someone else's terms. The system is designed to keep you busy. It rewards short-term pleasure and punishes long-term thinking. That's why most people spend instead of investing, consume instead of creating, and seek comfort instead of freedom. The first step to controlling money is shifting your mindset from consumer to owner. Ownership creates leverage. When you own assets, whether it's a business, a piece of property, a stock portfolio, or intellectual property, you turn money from a taskmaster into a worker. Every dollar you invest wisely becomes an employee that works for you day and night without asking for rest. But when you spend mindlessly, every dollar becomes a lost opportunity for freedom. People often confuse control with earning more. They think if they just make more money, they'll finally be free, but income alone never brings control. Discipline does. There are people earning millions who are still slaves to their expenses and debts. They can't stop working because their lifestyles demand constant feeding. Control doesn't come from abundance, it comes from awareness and restraint. You gain power over money the moment you stop needing more of it to feel secure. Freedom begins the day your happiness no longer depends on your next paycheck. One of the most powerful ways to take back control is by mastering your time. Time is the real wealth, and money is simply a means to protect it. When your money is well managed, it buys back your time, allowing you to choose how you live instead of reacting to financial pressure. But when you lose control, money steals your time. You spend decades working for others, dreaming of weekends or retirement, only to realize that you traded the best years of your life for numbers on a screen. Control means flipping that script. It means using money to create space, not stress. Money's power is psychological. It manipulates your emotions, fear of losing it, desire for more of it, pride in having it. The system thrives on this emotional chaos. To gain control, you must detach your identity from your income. You are not your bank balance. You are the consciousness that directs it. If you let fear or greed drive your financial decisions, money controls you. But if you act from clarity and purpose, you control it. The calm investor always outperforms the emotional one, not just in markets, but in life. When you take charge of your money, everything shifts. You start budgeting not out of scarcity, but out of intention. You invest not to get rich quick, but to grow free slowly. You realize that every unnecessary purchase delays your independence. Control brings peace because it removes uncertainty. You stop reacting to every financial problem with panic and start approaching money like a strategist. You no longer ask, how do I earn more? But instead, how do I make what I have worked harder for me? That's when you cross the invisible line between survival and sovereignty. In the end, money is just energy, neutral and obedient. It flows toward clarity and away from chaos. If you give it purpose, it amplifies your vision. If you give it power, it amplifies your prison. The people who achieve financial freedom aren't necessarily the smartest or the luckiest. They're simply the ones who learned control early. They understand that every dollar is a seed that can either grow or die, depending on how it's planted. So if you don't control your money, It will quietly write the script of your life without your consent. It will decide how much time you spend with your family, how much peace you experience, and how much choice you truly have. Control isn't about hoarding, it's about mastering the flow. Make money your servant, not your master. When you finally learn to command it with discipline and vision, you stop working for money and start letting money work for you. That's when you truly step into freedom. Every game has rules, and money is no different. But the problem is, most people start playing before they've ever learned how it works. They jump into the system blindfolded, working, spending, and saving without any real understanding of why. They follow what they're told: go to school, get a job, earn a salary, and someday retire. But those are the default rules written for players, not winners. If you want to master the game of money, you must first learn the rules. And then, when you understand them deeply enough, you can design your own version of the game. That's how true wealth and freedom are created, not by following the herd, but by understanding the system so well that you can move beyond it. The first rule of money is simple: spend less than you earn. It sounds basic, almost boring, but it's the foundation of everything. If you ignore this, no amount of intelligence or luck can save you. The second rule is to invest the difference in things that grow, assets that work while you sleep. And the third rule is to give time a chance to multiply your efforts. These principles don't sound exciting because they require patience, discipline, and long-term thinking, the exact traits the modern world tries to strip away from you. People want shortcuts, but the game of wealth only rewards strategy. When you truly understand how money flows, you realize it's not about working harder, it's about playing smarter. Most people trade their time for money. The wealthy trade money for time. That's the leverage point. The moment when you stop being a worker and start being an owner. The rules of money were designed around this principle. Ownership creates freedom, while labor creates dependence. Learn to own systems, not just participate in them. Own the equity, not just the paycheck. Once you see this clearly, you can't unsee it. You realize that being employed is safe only until it isn't, that saving alone can't outpace inflation, and that depending on a single source of income is the riskiest move in a volatile world. But before you can play your own game, you have to respect the existing one. Too many people reject money as evil or unfair, without ever studying how it actually works. You can't rewrite a game you don't understand. Study the fundamentals. Learn about compounding, risk, cash flow, and incentives. Understand how the tax system rewards investors and owners. Understand how debt can either crush you or make you rich depending on how it's used. Learn why markets behave like psychology experiments and how emotions move money faster than logic. Knowledge is the entry fee for control. Once you have it, you stop reacting to money and start directing it. After learning the rules, the next step is to create your own version of the game. This is where creativity replaces conformity. Maybe you build a business instead of relying on a job. Maybe you invest in digital assets, build an online brand, or create intellectual property that earns while you rest. The point isn't what you choose, it's that you choose consciously. Your game should align with your values, not with society's definition of success. Some people want luxury, others want peace. Some want fame, others want anonymity. The beauty of mastering money is that it gives you the power to decide. The people who seem effortlessly successful aren't playing harder, they're playing differently. They've designed systems around their strengths and delegated their weaknesses. They use leverage, technology, capital, and media and multiply their output without multiplying their effort. They understand that the ultimate form of wealth isn't just financial independence, it's creative independence, the ability to live by your own design, make your own choices, and wake up every day without financial fear. That's real wealth. Learning the rules also helps you avoid traps. You stop falling for get-rich-quick schemes, consumer debt, and the illusion of luxury. You start seeing money as a long-term ally, not a short-term thrill. You learn that every financial decision is a trade between now and later, and that patience is the ultimate competitive edge. you realize that most people lose not because they lack opportunity, but because they can't delay gratification. The game rewards those who think in decades, not days. Playing your own game doesn't mean rebelling blindly. It means creating a unique strategy that fits your goals. The best investors, entrepreneurs, and creators all began by mastering fundamentals before innovating. They studied patterns, learned the language of money, and then bent it to their will. You can do the same. Whether your goal is financial freedom, creative expression, or generational impact, you can't skip the learning phase. You must understand the rules deeply before you can transcend them. In the end, mastering the game of money isn't about winning against others. It's about winning your own freedom. The rules are there to teach you structure, but once you've learned them, you can move beyond structure into strategy. That's when you stop chasing wealth and start building it naturally. Learn how the system works, then use that understanding to design a life that feels like yours. That's how you go from being a player in someone else's game to being the architect of your own.